Hi, I'm RD Ramir Uytico from DepEd Region 6, the home of the champions. I chose the story Monico and the Giant because this reminds me of my college years when my teacher in developmental reading requested us to tell a story. And so I chose this story, and I was so amused because my teacher in that subject gave me a flat 1. So this is very important to me, even if I am already a regional director of the Department of Education. Reading is a very important subject. Reading is one of the 4 macro skills in communication. One can never be a writer if he is not a great reader. So learners have to undergo all the challenges in reading for them to be skillful in writing. Reading is always considered a complicated aspect in communication, but if our learners are exposed to reading, a lot of beautiful things will happen in their respective lives. Monico and the Giant, a Philippine folklore during the American period. In ancient times in the Philippines, there was a very cruel giant. He lived in a cave at the foot of the mountain. Once a week, the giant took one of the villagers who lived around the mountain as a food. The villagers around the place became very frightened. They thought at some point they must be the victim of that ferocious giant's meal. In one of the villages not far from the mountain was a boy named Monico. When he heard about the giant's greed, his young soul could not accept the abuse. His little heart said, "How cruel the giant is!" He was determined to end the history of the wicked. Monico then thought of a way on how to make people live quietly without the giant's disturbance. For a few hours, he paused and thought of a way. One day, Monico went to the giant's cave. He has got a sense of how to kill the giant. On his way, Monico first encountered a musician in the village. He borrowed a drum and a trumpet from the musician while continuing the journey, Monico bearing the musical instruments on his back. Then collected the roots of the banyan tree that he got in the middle of the journey. The day before dusk, when he arrived at the residence of the giant, he carefully looked around the place. Inside the cave, the giant was invisible. Monico cautiously entered the cave, then looked for a dark corner and hidden from the eyes of the giant. In that corner, he hid out holding a drum and a trumpet, awaiting the arrival of the giant. The weather had been dark and dense when the giant came home. The giant was very surprised when he saw the open door of the cave. Although he could not see anything because of the darkness, The giant smelled the scent of humans. "Who dares to open the door of my house?" he yelled. "Me, Monico, a giant bigger than you. I came here to punish what you did." Monico said bravely, his voice raising with all his might. "Ha ha ha ha! Nothing is bigger than me. It happens that my stomach is hungry. I'll eat you for dinner," shouted the giant. "Do not be arrogant. Apparently, you do not know who you are talking to," Monico replied in a voice that was cultivated to match the giant's voice. The giant patted his chest with his hand. There was a tremulous sound. Monico immediately beat his drums with all his might, still harder clapping my chest. Monico said, not to be outdone. The giant is furious, then shouted, "If you're bigger than me, show your hair." Monico immediately threw a bunch of roots of the banyan tree he was carrying, exclaiming, "Look at my hair, longer and much bigger than your hair." "How much do you keep me?" said the giant. At that moment, Monico shouted he would sing to prove himself the greatest giant. Then he blew the trumpet with all his might. It turned out that the sound of the trumpet echoing in the cave had made the giant terrified. He ran, rushing out to the cave. Due to the very dark weather, the giant lost its way, then crashed into a huge tree. Meanwhile, Monico waited patiently in the cave. The next morning, Monico left the cave early. He found that the giant had been lying in a steep valley with its head cracked by crashing into a big tree. With carefree heart, Monico returned to his village. He was welcomed as a hero. A festive party was soon held to celebrate the victory. Monico then was known by the public as one of the legendary heroes of the people. Monico and the Giant, a Philippine folklore during the American period. Monico and the Giant has taught us that in life, if we have our special dreams, size does not matter. Monico was smaller than the giant, and he was able to outsmart the giant. So, if we have our special dreams, we just need to have our character. Coupled with a character is competence. We need to be skillful enough so that we can achieve our dreams in life. Aside from that, we need to have courage and compassion. So the 4 C's, whether you are small or big, as long as you embrace the 4 C's, character, competence, courage, and compassion, one can always be successful in life. In line with the celebration of the 2021 National Reading Month with the theme, Bawat Bata Bumabasa, Sa kabila ng hamon ng pandemya, I sincerely request everyone in the home of the champions to take care of our learners, especially they are in the confines of their respective homes. Teaching reading is very challenging nowadays. But if all of us in the home of the champions always exert effort in touching lives of our learners, especially in reading, a lot of beautiful things will happen in the home of the champions. So, congratulations to all our teachers as they continue to navigate and touch lives even during the pandemic. To our learners, keep on reading because we should always remember that reading maketh a fool man. Once again, this is EdD Ramir, your regional director, emphasizing that this Region 6 is the home of the champions, and this is where every child is a champion. We need to emphasize reading so that we can continuously produce champions even in the midst of the pandemic.